you know, you read a lot of things about like people on their deathbeds and stuff, and it's like no one ever talks about the amount of money they made, right? It's about the experience they had, the time they spent with their families. Like, that's the one thing you cannot put a price tag on. I tell everybody this, like, you cannot put a price tag on your time.
Good concentration equals good shooting. Good shooting does not equal good concentration.
You have to play to your strengths and to your given, what you've been given.
You can't try to be something you're not. Jim
Braddock was the boxer's name. Anyways, but he made this marvelous comeback and was beating everybody, and he was winning, you know. And I freaking sobbed, man, just because I love that victory,
right?
You know,
Rudy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I guess everybody likes that.
All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Bowman Podcast. We're at Aron's new house in Golden, Colorado. This is take 3 of a podcast because I didn't push the record button. Aron, today we are reviewing Bino Harnesses.
Yes.
Take it away.
All right. So I posted up on Instagram a week ago, 3 harnesses that I'm currently testing out. I'll say ahead of time, I didn't pick these 3 because I thought they were the only 3 or the best 3. They were the 3 that I really liked that I had. There's a harness that got mentioned a few times from a company. I'm just not going to review that specific harness. I won't go into great detail, but I'm going to try not to review things from a company that does their best to bash me in the industry. So, I mean, I'm just not going to review that one. We won't go into any more depth.
Are they called Japonski?
No, they are called Komuniski.
Oh, got it. Okay, got it.
Yeah. They're the company that basically says Canadian-made boutique shops, high quality, and then they grab the carpet, they yank that out real fast, and they head to Japan, and then they put a spin on that for everybody to eat.
Okay.
So then there was the Muley Freak harness. Looks really good. I haven't used it. I have friends that use it, and that's one I will look into later on. I just didn't have one. The Timbernet Solo Hunter system. That's another one people ask about. I've never used that one before. I haven't even really seen it other than in pictures. That one got brought up. The Badlands got brought up. I'm not a fan of that Badlands harness. I've had 2 of them. They just did not hold up to heavy abuse. So that one's not one I'm really ever going to probably go into a great depth.
My cousin Ben used the Badlands for like 3 or 4 years and had similar experiences. Yeah. So he was happy to get rid of it. Now, I don't know what some of their latest designs are like,
right.
But I know that the one from a couple years back, you know, it has that magnet closure.
Yep.
You know, and it would snap shut and make a loud noise.
Yeah.
And then a few times when he was leaning over, it just popped open and his binoculars fell out.
Yeah.
So some things like that made it less than desirable for him, and then it would slide.
Yep. Yeah. It'll come loose. Another thing too, with these 3, they all are they're different. I mean, they're.
And what 3?
The Alaskan Guide Creations, Marsupial Gear, and Sitka. They're different enough where you could actually own all 3 and probably use all of them at a different time.
And you were saying you probably will do that.
Yeah, I will.
I found that I really love my Alaska Guide Creations harness, and there's certain, and I'll let you speak to it, but there are certain times I want to take that with me, but then I have the Sitka one, and I love the slim profile, and there's certain times I want to use that one.
Right,
but I haven't used.
Go ahead.
This marsupial or some others just yet, but I could see those 2 are quite different for me, and I want them for different hunts.
Well, and and you'll have to edit a little of this out, but the saying of one man's another man's gold is quite true with this, because as I'm reading some of the things that are negative to some people on these harnesses are a positive to me, and some of the things that are a positive to some people, the magnetic closure on the Marsupial Gear, people like, not a fan. Not for me. In fact, I'm going to cut all that crap out, and I'm going to have Bender sew me up something different because, and I'll go when I get to it throws off a compass. It throws it off a lot. And since I nav, as you know, with a compass most of the time, it's kind of a no start for a wilderness harness for me. Just for the simple fact, 3-4 degrees off is a problem when you go a long distance. So either way, with these specific 3, I'm going to go over each one, go over the pros and the cons.
Aaron, I just want to know what the best one is. Just tell me. Just tell me what the best one is.
That's the thing. Everybody's
Just what's the
asking
best
me,
one?
So what's the winner? And there is no winner. And a lot of people brought up the Alaskan Guide Creations, the Marsupial Gear, and the FHF. And FHF makes a great harness. I just don't have one. Some of the people brought up the Sitka Gear harness, that they liked it. Some people said it was expensive. I really like it right now, but in the spirit of honesty, I didn't pay for the Sitka Gear one. I traded. It doesn't matter, but I did some trading for that. But the Alaskan Guide Creations, I did get that for free as to test it out from Jarrett a long time ago. I did some trading for the Marsupial Gear for Kifaru product. So I kind of paid for each of them, and I kind of didn't. But anyway, I'm going to go through each one and go through my thoughts as well as what someone else might like or dislike. So on the Alaskan Guide Creations, the first negative side to most people, or the thing you hear, is bulk. It's bulky. That can be a positive because you do have all these pockets. This is my go-to wilderness harness. Final stock, whatever the case may be, I get stuck out away from my pack. I've got these little pockets that hold, well, somebody said they're not very big. And to me, I thought that's weird because I fit everything I want to inside of these.
And keep in mind, you're running the Kodiak Cub, which is the smallest one they make.
Yeah.
When you, there's Dwayne pulling it up on the internet. I think that if you pull, like mine's one size bigger than that,
Yeah.
and the pockets are even bigger.
Yeah.
It's a little bulkier, but not much.
Not too bad. And in these pockets, for me, I run a lens pin and it's like a Petzl E-light, headlamp on one side. On the other side, I generally have a Bic lighter or a flint and steel and trioxane tablet.
Yep.
In the front, one of the things I like about this is I have my vertical outdoorsman post for glassing off my binoculars. I'll also generally have my Garmin 401 with my M9 compass inside there as well. In the back side, I'll have a Taito knife with some blades, my tags. Sometimes I'll have ribbon in there.
Yeah, and I used to run a Havalon in the side, but now I can run the Taito in the back because it's so flat.
Yeah, you can't even feel it. Yeah, that Taito knife is, we work with those guys, so, it's a game changer, that Taito. For me, it doesn't get, not to go into sales pitch about Taito knives, but it doesn't get gummed up because it's not a folder. You can take the blade off, so you can run just this flat piece for the handle anywhere. It can't be, you can't break it. You can clean it easier. It is a game changer. I strongly suggest for anybody that skins animals to get a Taito.
Yeah, it is. What is it? Titanium or is it aluminum?
It's unobtainium. It's what Captain America's shield is made from.
Dang. Well, I was gonna say I must be Superman because you can bend it.
Oh yeah, you can.
You can bend it.
Yeah.
So
I tried to pry my buddy's door open. I bent out of it. It was a 90-degree angle, and it bent back. It didn't break, but yeah. So the bulk is one negative side. Now the other negative side I fixed, which is the buckles that come with it. It's not an auto lock tensioning buckle, so they're sewn in. I cut them off, and what I did is I took buckles from Kifaru, these open-ended females from ITW Nexus. And then I attached those at all 4 points, and then I put auto-locking buckles on the harness portion so it can't come loose. A lot of guys, you can get these from Kifaru. We sell them. You can get them from Mil-Spec Monkey, and you can get them from that other place at the Gettin' store. I don't know where else you can buy them, but you can get auto-lock buckles at different places.
But basically that makes it so as you're hiking around or running or whatever, your Bino harness isn't sliding down to your belly button.
Right. Doesn't come loose. And so when you, if you take a guy that's, mostly hunting, I hate to say out of the truck, but not wilderness hunting so much. Like I was saying, hunting antelope, hunting in Alberta, whatever. This harness is probably not needed.
A little
overkill. It's probably bulkier. You don't need to carry stuff to build a fire on the side of the mountain.
Because I do like the idea, like on a wilderness hunt, where you're back in there and you set your pack down or something happens. It's just something nice about having all that stuff on a chest rig that just for safety reasons.
Yeah, I mean, and I've lost my pack or misplaced my pack before, and that Petzl E-Light is enough to see the reflective pull cord I have on my zipper pulls to stick out enough to find it. So
I think if anybody's hunted long enough, there's a time where you set your pack down in the heat of the moment and then wandered off, and then you had to go back and find it, like when you're chasing elk or something. And then it's tough to find it. And if it gets dark and you left your lamp inside your pack and you left matches and you left, a GPS or a compass and all that somewhere back there, I mean, you're just kind of hosed. So it's nice to have it all in there and just.
Well, when I got this, I think this was the year I was with Joe Bott, and I was on one ridge line, 12.5. We were mule deer hunting, and a storm's coming in, and Joe was texting me. Joe's hunting a separate area, but you've been at 12.5 and call. He can see forever. And there's a lightning storm coming, which is more to the story because Joe hiked out at like 3 a.m. I'm not gonna say you were scared, Joe, but I'm gonna say you were scared. But in the middle of this stalk, I dropped my pack and I texted him. I'm like, dude, $190. I'm gonna kill this thing. And I couldn't have found my ass with both hands by the time that stalk was over. I got about 140 yards from the buck. Fog rolled in. I couldn't see 5 feet. All I had was my harness. I couldn't find my pack. I couldn't find camp. I couldn't find it. And literally the only reason was just blind luck of circling like an idiot. And I finally ran into my pack. The thing was, is if I was smart enough, I didn't have my, that's why I always have this in this.
Garmin 401.
My 401, because I could have found camp at least, but I couldn't even find camp, man. Anyway, so if I would have had like a Marsupial Gear or this Sitka, I wouldn't have had all the crap in it I would have needed. Now, one of the other things people talked about is this is kind of deep, and it's harder to get your binoculars out. I personally like that. It gives them more protection. I will say I run a smaller one. It does make it a little more difficult to get them out. But, 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. It's not as easy to get out binoculars out of the Alaskan as it is the Marsupial or the Sitka gear. They're just easier. So one of the other things that people had brought up was like the actual harness. I cannot tell a lie on this. I don't really notice a difference from any of them. They're just something to hold around my neck and shoulders. You're
not noticing more sweat or less sweat or it chafing or rubbing.
I just sweat, so it doesn't matter. Chafing or rubbing, no, not really. This is a little bulkier right here. This is spacer mesh right here. This one's just webbing. The Marsupial Gear is basically just webbing. Sitka's got a little bit more high-tech performance fabric up here. I don't even know what the hell this is called. It's kind of a see-through deal. This is probably semi-breathable, but it doesn't really matter. So with the Alaskan, if you get one, I would highly suggest changing out these buckles. And it's kind of a good all-around harness, but if you're not really needing to carry those items and you don't need those on your chest, this is probably not the best option because it is bulkier.
I do like the hook and loop system on that, where I can just get my binos in and out with one hand.
Yep.
And I like how much it protects my binoculars and that I carry a lot of other gear in it.
Yeah, and it's quiet. Now, the Cordura is not the most quietest thing in the world, but meaning getting in your binoculars is quiet. With the Marsupial, that magnet can snap. That can be a problem. So with the Marsupial Gear, and this is the one actually that I haven't used this specific one, mostly because I think I was supposed to give this to Frank, and I haven't yet. But so for a wilderness, it's a non-starter. It is a great harness. I would suggest it to anyone that is not navigating with a compass. And I grabbed a couple compasses. Here's one. Here's the other. What happens here is with these magnets right there.
Whoa, dude. Look at that.
Right. Okay, so that's probably 3 feet, and I'm golden. I'm 2 degrees off, a little bit more. Right there, I'm probably 8 degrees off, and she reverses right there. Now the problem is if you can imagine, if I bring
There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have your buddy hold it.
Yeah, if I bring up this, it's off. If I bring it up to my
Wrist.
my wrist, and it's like spinning all over the place. You about have to hold it over here, and if you're trying to shoot your azimuth or your bearing, it's about impossible with this. So the magnets, which were awesome for a lot of people, everybody loved them.
A lot of people like that design.
For me, and the guy that builds these is a great dude. It's a great design. I would use this for a lot of situations. I'm an odd duck nowadays. I land nav off of a compass and a map, and that makes it very difficult. One thing that is nice about this is it does come with the auto locks, the good buckles. I'm going to say he stole that idea from me, although I don't know if he did or not. It's streamlined.
Are you going to use that like an Alberta or something like that? I mean, would you do that opposed to, where someplace where you may not need?
I'm not 100% sure yet. So, and opening it is better than the Sitka for sure. It's quieter because the Sitka does have a zipper. The problem that I worry about is this
closing.
Yeah.
That's loud.
And after shooting a recurve, and I exaggerated that obviously, but
you got close. It can still sneak up on you.
Yeah, and
right,
I mean,
like you're sitting there and you put the binos back in, and then whack. That's the first thing that crossed my mind because that's what the Badlands does too.
And he's very smart. I mean, the guy. It's a great design because it also sticks down here. It sticks open,
right,
which is cool. But after hunting with a recurve, I will say that it does make me nervous. That but
doesn't the Sitka have a magnet in it too?
It's just small. It doesn't affect the compass. You can tell Barclow was in the military because I asked him about it, and he tested it, so he'd already screwed around with it. But this portion is loud. After that, the construction, the durability, the ease of use, it's a very well thought out harness. The negative side is if you're running $3,000 optics or $2,000 optics, the outside, like the FHF, is not it's not protected. And
right.
I'm being overly.
It's not a full enclosure.
It's not, and that's why I stopped using the original FHF. If you were in a high wind area, and I don't think people realize, and you get, I don't want to say a sandstorm, but kind of a sandstorm, you're getting a lot of, basically my eye cups locked up on my binoculars. It got so much sand in there. They were, I wouldn't say locked up total, but it literally was like every time I twisted them open, and it's because the sides were open. A lot of people like that.
Well, and I can see Alberta, I was belly crawling.
Yeah.
And having my binos inside the Alaska Guide, it did make it a little harder to crawl because it's bulkier.
Yeah.
So I actually had to loosen the strap and slide it off to the side.
Yeah.
A little bit as I got flatter, as I approached an edge. But I will say that my binos, as they were dragging through the dirt throughout the belly crawl, and I crawled hundreds and hundreds of yards every day
in that godforsaken
and cactuses and dirt and brush, and my binos stayed covered and protected, where they would just get all kinds of dirt in it as I drag it through the dirt.
Right. Now one of the things that's nice with this system is the tethering system coming off the harness is quick detach. So if you're going to pop your binoculars off onto a tripod, let's say, or hand them to your buddy, it's just a clip. Again, me being me and being different, I cut all that stuff off. I don't use any of that. I don't really like my binoculars to be on a tether if they don't have to be, just for the simple fact of I'm pulling them onto the harness constantly. And this is a little bit more
not
bold.
the harness, onto the tripod.
Tripod, yeah.
I think for personal preference, you told me to just tie a cord around my binos.
Yep.
Then that cord is just around my neck.
Yeah.
But it's not really tied to anything.
Yep.
And then I plop them in and out all the time. And then if I need to, you just lift the cord off your head in a second. I mean, so you could have the best of both worlds. Have it tethered but not tied to you.
Right. And I think for for me, and I won't say I stole that from Clay Lancaster, but Clay runs small binoculars and he runs Swazi clothing, and they have this big ugly ass pocket, and I wear Swazi gear sometimes, and it's just this giant man pocket that you could fit a book in. He wears a over the shoulder sling. He puts his binoculars in there, and on the hunt he just flings them behind himself, and he hates harness. He doesn't wear them. Well, watching that, I thought, man, I should just run that cord and drop them in. And if I ever want to just drop this, I can just run them around my neck. So, and you ran just a little piece of 550 cord around, and works great.
And then I tried to be like Aron, and I took the cord off, and then forgot I took the cord off and dropped my binoculars on the ground.
Yeah, you definitely got to keep your head on a swivel.
And they went down the hill about 50 feet.
They went a long ways. I was laughing. I shouldn't have been. I should have.
We're on the edge of a cliff.
I should have prefaced that these are small enough to where it takes an act of God and Congress to get mine out. I mean, like
the Alaska Guide one.
The Alaskan Guide. The what was it again? The what? The
Cub.
Bear Cub.
Kodiak Cub.
Kodiak Cub. It's small enough with my binoculars that
it's a little tight.
Yep, it's tight. And then if I even have this loose, it won't slide forward enough or out or open enough where when they slide a little bit, they'll hang up on this.
Yeah.
That's a negative side to some people. It's a pain in the butt to get them out. But
well, and that's true for the Kodiak Cub, I'll say. But I have the neck size up. It's not much bigger than that, and they slide in and out much more easily than the Cub. I have the Cub as well, but right. I actually like the neck size up because it's easy with one-handed operation. Slide it in. The lid doesn't give me it's a little bit tight running the Cub, I think.
It's honestly if you get rain, mine will squeak good. They're that tight going in. So with the Marsupial Gear, again, it's streamlined. It's very well thought out. The harness is good. The buckles are great. You've got the tethering system. You've got a pocket here for wind indicator or a call on the side.
For those that are listening.
I forget that. Both sides, you've got these little pockets. You've also got I know a lot of guys dummy cord stuff like your call, your lanyards on there, and then you've got this zippered pocket that you can run a Title knife in there and your tags without an issue. The downsides to this, the magnet, if you're going to land nav, or I'm strongly urging people to make sure that they check your GPS will be affected as well. Your GPS isn't going to be affected as far as your grid coordinate, but your compass on your GPS, depending upon what type of GPS you have, will be affected by that magnet. And then obviously the sides are open. It's very well constructed, though. It's a great harness, and a lot of people like this thing. And the dude's super cool that makes him. He's a great guy. I think that probably covers that one. Mm-hmm. So the Sitka, I would say the first thing with the Sitka is it's light. It is it's half the weight of any of the other harnesses. It's pretty streamlined. There's not a whole lot to it. This is the one that at this point right now that I'm going to run for antelope. Alberta. This is the one I'm thinking. The main reason why is, one, it's lightweight, but two, it fully encloses my binoculars in the sense of, you can leave it completely shut, but I can unzip this. It's got a little magnet in here, and I can magnetize it open. It does have a
tethering system,
but it's static. It's not quick detach. But I work for Kafaru International, and I ordered some buckles to make this quick detach. So I'm going to put those on there. It also has inside a lens cloth, which is pretty cool, and there's a little pouch for that. I actually use
that lens cloth a lot.
I use it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Now on mine, where that lens cloth is, you've got these two internal pockets. I also have a lens pin in there. So I have a lens pin on one side and that lens cloth. On this other side, I actually put my Taito knife in there and 5 blades. It fits just fine. It's made more for this cord, I think, to stuff in. Now, the 2 pockets on the side, that's for wind indicator calls. It's fairly simple. The harness is extremely, it's pretty Spartan. There's not a whole lot to it. It's got 3/4 inch buckles. these buckles I haven't broke. I did the freezer test with them, so they're pretty durable. I froze them and they held up pretty good. I will say, if I do have any issues with these, we have 3/4. Of course, I work for a company that sews stuff, so I could change these buckles out for ITW Nexus relatively easy. The magnet is not enough. I can kind of show you. Right there. So I don't know, 4 inches it starts to affect the 4 to 6 inches it starts to affect the compass, and this is actually tucked behind, so it's even
there's
more
just
difficult.
one underneath too, but still it's pretty. They're not outward facing.
Yeah, and they're little, so it doesn't really. For
4
my
inches.
testing so far, it hasn't affected it. This thing, as far as waterproof, it's certainly not waterproof, but it will handle a fairly decent rain. But water will eventually get in. I'm probably going to cut this handle off because I'm weird and just put 1.8 millimeter guy line across there. I don't personally need it. It is nice. It is very easy to grab. That's solid across that. That's got like a carbon rod, but I'll probably just tie cord across.
When I was using it, I like to pull it down like that, and you know how it has that magnet underneath. I would tuck it behind there often if I wanted to run it a little higher like this, so it had a deeper hole.
Yep.
So when I was leaning over or crawling, I could still get it in and out.
Yeah.
When I have it all the way down and here, there are times where my binos would
they'll fall right out.
falling right out. So I could run it higher with that thing connected there.
Right.
The zipper pull, and then just tuck in this flap behind it.
Yep.
I don't know if that was part of the design or if that's just a byproduct of it, but it works great to make a deep hole.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because I haven't done that, but I've certainly kind of run them like halfway because mine, I had the tethers hooked up. They fell out immediately. When we were up at Big Sky.
Yeah, I found that when I ran it just like that, it was really easy, and this never got in my way.
Yeah,
I only needed to do that a few times on a stock when I'm, closing really tight and I'm leaning over or climbing, belly crawling or whatever. And
right. Well, and I would say that the downside to this is price. It's expensive. I think it's $120 something for this harness.
That's what I used in. No, it's $129. That's what I used in Alaska, Prince of Wales Island for black bear.
Yeah,
and it held up very well. Kept my binos protected. Now we're under a lot of rain, but it never. I mean, probably more rain than you'll get and humidity than you'll get on most hunts you're on.
Yeah.
And it really, even though it got wet, thoroughly soaked, everything was, but thoroughly soaked all the way through. It took quite a while, and it kept my binos in good condition. When I pulled them out after a long day, and they had finally gotten a lot of buildup of moisture in there.
Yeah.
Every time I pulled them out, I had to dry them off with the lens cloth that was in there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I wouldn't have had to do the same thing with the Alaska Guide, though. I mean, I've had them fog up on me inside.
I'm 100% positive it'd be the exact same outcome because it got to the point with the Alaskan, like in Idaho, and it literally was. I had put silica packets in there
in North Idaho.
North Idaho, and it helps for a while, but then those get soaked, and it doesn't help anyway. I would say if I had to pick one now this is for me. I'm not picking a winner. This would be my lightweight option. This is the one, my low profile. Just because it is extremely simple, it's extremely durable, and it does everything that I need it to do, and it doesn't affect my compass.
So as I've used this quite a bit, used it for 2 weeks on a hunt, used it since then throughout the summer, and then I've used Alaska Guide quite a bit. I will say that the Alaska Guide, I get like super, super sweaty underneath that harness. So every time I put it on when we're elk hunting, I sweat more than you. within 10 minutes, I just have a completely soaked chest.
Yeah.
And I'll get a cold sweat and stuff like that. I mean, it's just cost of doing business with something that protects my binos and is that hefty. But I don't get that with the Sitka one. I guess it's lighter, breathes better. As far as the straps go, I like the Sitka one way better. Yeah. You were saying it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
But I found that I don't sweat and get super drenched shoulders. When I take the Alaska Guide off, I'll have, when I'm elk hunting, I'll have a big wet spot there. When I do that with the Sitka, it's breathed so well because it's just that thin mesh that I don't have a lot of sweat.
Right.
Because it's just breathing. So I just like how it breathes. Yeah, it's more comfortable that way.
It is certainly lighter weight. I mean, as far as like if people are going to, since we're not saying a best at the end of this, I would say the best option for guys that really want something that they can hold, basically have a wilderness kit with them, protect the binoculars. The Alaskan Guide is what you want, but I would strongly suggest upgrading the buckles, do some maintenance by Opie, cut the old ones off, put the new ones on, and I can tell you this one has lasted. I mean, I'm putting 150 nights or more for the last 3 years on this thing, and there's no issues with it.
And that cub is how much, Dwayne?
$75.99 according to Dwayne, the main vein Rock Johnson.
So $75 or $76 or something like that, right in that range. And then how much is the Sitka?
And then how much is the Marsupial?
So the Sitka is $129. And
the Marsupial Gear's kicking ass and taking names. It's $59.95. So with the Marsupial Gear, the one thing I would say, this is a pretty good all-around harness. It has a little bit more options than the Sitka gear, not quite as much as the Alaskan. The buckles on this come. He's got the high-end ones. There's two good buckle companies. I say there's two. There's two that I trust. ITW Nexus, and then the company he's using right here, basically the same buckle. It already comes with those. It's got just enough pockets to get you by with what you'll need. Again, the downside, sides are open. That may be a positive side for some. Mm-hmm. And then the magnet. And again, the magnet, you could ask 10 people, and 9 of them, if they don't land nav, are going to like the magnet. You do need to stay cognizant when you close it, because it can be loud, like snap. Now, if you're careful with it, it's not an issue. My buddy that runs one of these, he's got like a little pull safety cord that he's manufactured into this loop. I don't think this loop opens. Yeah, he must have cut his open. And it's just so he can kind of inlay this down so it doesn't make a ton of noise when he's closing it up.
Got it.
And then really for the lightweight version, the Sitka gear is pretty hard to beat. Again, it's half the weight of both of these. The harness, as you said, breathes better. You don't sweat quite as much. It is relatively silent. The material is fairly quiet. I mean, you can hear it. It's not like it's felt or fleece or anything, but it's fairly quiet. It's got a couple little pockets. I'd say this one, as a guess, the Sitka gear will probably break first, and that's only for no other reason than me looking at it. It may never break. It's just looking like they went super, super lightweight. They ran 3/4 buckles. So when I say break, meaning an extreme use, I don't think it.
I drug mine through the jungle of Alaska. Granted, I was only 2 weeks, but I pretty much stomped in the dirt and mud and crawled, and I beat the heck out of it, and it still stinks like bear. But
well, and if you look just from a sewing perspective, just because I got to deal with it at Kafaru, you've got bar tacks here and here where the webbing comes in, which is vital. You've got bar tacks across the top. You've got binding here to close off the ends.
I think there's no doubt, though, that the Alaska Guide is more durable. I mean, I don't know. Just by looking at it, it's Cordura, it's thicker, and definitely that is a lighter weight material, so it just stands to reason that it's,
I would, and that's the only reason why I was saying this is a lighter weight system.
But I would suspect that it'll last forever based on the use that a bino harness goes through. It's not like a pair of pants.
Well, and I mean, what are you going to break on it, right? I mean, if you rub a hole in it, I wouldn't call that broken. I would just say it's broken. But this one is expensive. This harness is pretty hard to beat to just grab and go shoot stuff and then not. I mean, it's pretty carefree.
So you have the FHF, the Solo Hunter model,
Muley Freak
and
model.
the Muley Freak model still to take a look at.
Yep, yeah. I'll have to bug Paul at FHF and Muley Freak. Actually, Zach from Muley Freak said he was going to send me one, and I'll call Tim. I don't really. I mean, the spirit of, as I say it all the time, spirit of total honesty, I could give a crap if I run another one because I like all three of these, so I really don't need another one.
Right.
But it's worth to try them. I mean, and people
who knows?
can know
Maybe you're going to be like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is it.
Yep. And then there's another one that I'm not allowed to talk about that I've heard that is coming on the market that is going to revolutionize all harnesses. I'm talking like unobtainium, Captain America shield, Velcro type stuff.
Interesting.
Yes, we'll see if that ever actually comes out. They're still waiting on it. But that one is good. I have a design I ran by actually a couple of the companies that I wanted to come out with myself. I hate basically screwing other companies over, but there's a design I had. People have been bugging us at Kafaru to come out with one, and I've thought about it. It's just right now, as far as the triage of Kafaru trying to keep up, a Bino harness is not in the works right now. I can barely have time to pee. So yeah. So I guess to sum things up, really, if you want like the bomb-proof, carry your life system, get the Alaskan Guide Creations. If you want the super ultra lightweight, kind of a sleek system, get the Sitka. And if you want kind of something in the middle, get the Marsupial Gear. Most guys don't navigate with a compass anymore, so I think it's kind of a non-issue for a lot of people.
That looks slick. I mean, it's simple. Yeah, I mean,
super well built too.
I mean, it looks like I can see how the appeal of this it's so easy to get your Bino in and out. That snap though that's why I don't really care for magnets in much of anything.
Yeah, I've got kind of a system I've worked out with Bender that I'm going to cut this thing apart, take those magnets out, and then kind of redo this one, because I would definitely, if I get those magnets out of there, I'd use it quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the simple fact, again, the compass. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. As those other ones come out, or as we get them, we'll talk about them as well.
Cool. All right. Anything else to add on to this?
I don't think
questions.
so.
If people have questions or comments, they can
stay away from Communiski.
All right. Thanks, folks, for listening to the Gritty Bowman podcast. And stay gritty.
And brush your teeth. Change your socks. Call home.
And leave us a review on iTunes if you haven't done that before.
And make sure it's good. Damn it.
Yeah. I mean, be honest.
No,
and,
I want you to lie and leave a good one. Even if you don't like us, leave a good one. Don't listen to Brian.
And there you have it, folks. Stay gritty. Friends, hunters, outdoorsmen, lend me your ears. Please take this moment to listen to this excerpt from the Gritty Bowman film, Back to Traditions. Despite our ever-changing, ever-indignant world with its growing ignorance of and indifference to the ways of the wild, I remain a predator, pitying those who revel in artificiality and synthetic success while regarding me and my kind as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood. I stalk a real world of dark wood and tall grass stirred by a restless wind blowing across sunlit water and beneath star-strewn sky. And on those occasions when I choose to kill, to claim some small part of nature's bounty for my own, I do so by choice, quickly, with the learned efficiency of a skilled hunter. Further, in my heart and mind, I know the truth and make no apologies for my actions or my place in time. Others around me may opt to eat only plants, nuts, and fruits. Still others may employ faceless strangers to procure their meats, their leather, their feathers, and all those niceties and necessities of life. Such is their right, of course, and I wish them well. All I ask in return is no one begrudge me, and all of us who may answer the primordial stirrings within our hunter souls, my right to do some of these things myself. What you just heard is a quote from M.R. James. We truly live in a world that is largely ignorant and indifferent to the ways of the wild. And although some regard us as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood, we have the opportunity to change the way these people view the hunter and the hunt. We can share our experiences and nature's bounty with those who employ these faceless strangers. And by so doing, we make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the wild animals in the wild places we care so deeply about. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting and the outdoors. Our wild animals and our wild places depend on it. And as always, good luck on your hunts and stay gritty.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to The Gritty Bowman.
Gritty Bowman.